let's sit nice and tall. Let's feel the weight of the hips and the pelvis on the earth. Close your eyes. Find a nice long spine. And dropping into the rhythm of your breath. Let's take about 3 more. And for these 3, see if you can let your exhale ride out just a little bit longer than your inhalation. Exhales are just a great way to just feel a little bit more grounded. Inhalations are very energizing, which we will definitely get into, but for right now, just feeling everything settle. Next inhalation, let the hands pull together at the center of the chest. This morning we're going to start out working with our feet and then work our way up the body. But I want it to be a practice that's more focused on just the lower extremities, the feet, the legs, and the hips, as they are the part of the body that's associated to the first and second chakra. And I don't know about you, but for me, things are really swirling around in my head right now. There's just so much going on. And it's hard to pinpoint what it really is right now. It's just commotion. It feels like commotion. And so this is a practice to allow that distortion to settle. So whatever's going on in our lives with this this coronavirus, or just the changes and shifts that we've had to make, and not all of us have had to do that, but majority of us have. So this is a way that we can think of just making some sort of sense of it all. And through that, we find an acceptance, we find a trust and a courage to be with all the shifts and changes that are happening now and that will continue to happen. You can think of it as resilience, perseverance, whatever comes up for you. And release your hands. Let your eyes open. Okay, so before we start playing with our feet, we're going to come into a particular pranayama. I'm going to back up just a little bit so I can, called Bhramari Breath. And Bhramari is she's the goddess of the bees. And right now, the bees are coming out, the bees are doing their job, they're pollinating, they're busy. They're really busy right now, but they have a focus, right? And so they stay with their focus and they get the job done. But it's also a way that we can, this particular breath is known for settling agitation. It's known for allowing the parasympathetic nervous system to start to come in and override sympathetic nervous system. And so the way this breath works is you literally sound like a bumblebee. So the inhalation will come in with depth, and as you exhale, it's literally a humming sound. Okay, so I'll do one for you. And I don't know, maybe Emily, you could take us all off of mute for a moment and just see how it sounds, and we'll go from there. But I'll do the first one. Okay, so we'll take an inhale in. Okay, so we're gonna do it. You can think of it as a sea of ohms, if you will. So we're all if you think about a hive, right? A hive. Bees are so intelligent, they all have their own particular jobs, and so we're all humming at a different tone, if you will. And so some of us will exhale a little bit longer, some of us shorter, but what I'd like us to do is do 3 of them together. So when you're done with your third one, just take a moment, sit quietly, and just feel this vibration move through your body. Feel a sense of clarity, of calming, feeling, again, as I spoke to earlier, some of this just chaos, if you will, monkey mind going on. Just feel it settle as much as you possibly can. Okay, so let's bring the first fingers and thumbs together. Let the palms face up. Straighten the elbows if you can. Sit up nice and tall. And again, reestablish a nice sitting.
If you want to unmute yourself, you will have to do it manually yourself. Just the bottom. You don't need to do anything, Kelly, but just everybody who's participating, just the bottom left-hand corner. You can just unmute during the bumblebee breath.
Okay, and only if you want to. Okay, all right. Thank you, Emily.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. All right, so let's take a full breath in. And through the mouth, exhale. Good, and we'll do 3 rounds together. Inhaling. As you complete the third exhalation, just take a moment, pause. This breath is also known to nourish the vagus nerve, okay, the nerve that governs our respiration, our digestion, our heartbeat, so many things. And as this nerve, again, is connected to the nervous system, a way of just calming. Good. And let the eyes open. And if you were if you came off of mute, then go ahead and put yourself back on mute. Okay, and then sitting in this cross-legged position, I'm going to take a hold of your right foot. So any way that you can get your right foot, you don't have to have your leg in the same position as mine. It can be down in front of you if you need to fold forward. And then you're just going to massage your right foot, rub your foot. Think about more like myofascial work, right, where you're really just getting deep into the tissues, you're getting into the arch of the foot. Feel like you're trying to actually like spread the base of your foot apart, okay? So we're going to come into a little reflexology, and the reflexology is basically, we can think of it as a way that it correlates to the nervous system. So the foot is like a map of the body. So So if you take the bottom of the foot, this is the base of the spine, getting into the sacrum, and then we move up into the arch here is considered to be where like the vital organs are. And then as we come up into right at the ball of the foot, there's we can even find our solar plexus area here. And then when we come up into the base of the toes, we start to get up into the shoulders and then into the neck, and then even the tips of the toes correlate to up into the sinuses and even into the pineal and pituitary gland. So it's quite fascinating. So we're going to come into, I want you to find the inseam of the foot, and even if you have collapsed arches, anything like that, you still have this bone in the foot. So what we want to do is we want to start down at the base, and you'll feel right where there's this bone that you want to glide right along, and you're just pressure pointing here. Okay, so just starting at the inner heel and working your way up. And you don't have to push really hard. I mean, some of us tend to be a little addicted to stimulation to where we have to feel everything really intensely. So this morning, just try to take it easy. So just work your way up and down, up and down. So this is considered to be the spine line, right? This inner arch region of the foot. So it's a way that we can think of stimulating all the nerves along the spine. And then you're going to come all the way up to the outer edge of the big toe. Come all the way up to the big toe and give a little push right into the big toe. And then you're going to take your left fingers, and as best as you can, you're going to weave your fingers in between your toes. So spreading the toes out. You want to really try to get down into the webbing of the toes. And notice how your face might have to change a little to get there. Make sure it might be slightly uncomfortable, and that's okay. Right, so you're really trying to spread the toes out. Some of you have seen or might even have the what we call the yogi toes, and they're these toe spreaders, and they can help with bunions, they can help with plantar fasciitis, they can even help with arthritic toes. And so really just take a moment here and see if you can squeeze a little bit more, and then start to twist a little. So you're turning your foot right to left. So it literally looks like you're doing a little spinal twist with your foot. Okay. Take one nice long breath here. And then release. Bring the fingers out of the toes. And then come up into the ankle just for a moment here. And just, again, like you're spreading, you're trying to pull your heel and your ankle apart. Right, so it's like you're almost trying to, let's think of it as creating space in the ankle joint. Good. And then you're going to take both legs out in front of you. Right, and just feel for a moment. Right, you can even see it. If you look, you can see there's a different, slightly a different color of the tissue of the skin. Right, and you can even feel the difference of the right and the left. Okay, so let's go to the second side. Take the left foot, hold on wherever you can, and then again, finding just like you're spreading the base of your left foot apart. So my full-time job as a massage therapist, and I am always encouraging people to massage their feet, to spread their toes, right? This is our base. This is our foundation, if you will. This is the part of our body that is constantly connected, well, not constantly, but more so than any other part of our body, to earth, right? Walking around, hopefully some of us, if not all of us, can get a little bit more comfortable being barefoot every once in a while and just standing on the earth and just feeling that amazing pulse, that amazing vibration. It's actually called earthing, okay? And so now from here, let's find the spine line. So finding the inner arch or the inseam of your left foot, and then using your thumbs, you can use your fingers, whatever works for you. And just walk that line. So you're trying to find, again, the edge of the bone here. Walking up and down, up and down. You might hit a point that feel the bladder also is very close to where you're pushing on here, and so there's a chance that something might feel like it's almost like an acupressure point, like there's a needle going in, and that could be several different things. Okay, could be some stagnation in that particular meridian. It could just be that you have tightness in that part of your foot. Okay, good. And then now from here, come all the way up to the very tip of the right toe, push down into the tip of the left toe, and then taking the right fingers and weave your fingers as best as you can. So you have to kind of pull the toes apart and try to get all the way down into what we would think of as the webbing of the toes. Just do your best. I know we all have different shape of our feet, so just do what you can do and spread the toes as best as you can. The heel of your hand is really holding and supporting right into the upper arch. And that's the area where the diaphragm, right, is correlated to. So you can think of it as we start to twist a little bit here, moving the foot to the right and to the left. It's a way that we start even to stimulate into the diaphragm. So as we move here in a moment through our practice, we can utilize the primary muscle for respiration. Good. And then squeeze just a little bit harder if you can, a little bit tighter, really trying to stimulate here. Full breath in. Exhale out. Good, and then release. Come out of the toes. Take your legs back out in front of you. Just notice now. Right? And then you're going to start moving through your ankle joints. So point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. And then out, internal, external, internal, external. Right? Now this is obviously coming from your hip, right? Good. And then make some circles with your ankles, going in every direction. You can do them together if you like, or one at a time. Good. Okay. And then please make sure that you're seated on a blanket. I'm going to come to the side now. Okay. And then from here, you're going to slide your right heel in towards your right hip, and then slide your right foot back out. Yes, I know it's a sticky mat, so just do your best. You could also come off of your mat for a moment if you have a hardwood floor or carpet. Right? But the gliding, you're not pushing down hard, you're just sliding forward and back. Try to keep a nice tall spine. Pelvic floor is activated here. Abdominal wall. Okay, so just sliding in. And then the next time the right knee comes up, you're going to let your right knee drop out. Bring it back up. Let the right leg slip out. Pull your left knee in, left knee drops out, slide the left leg back out. So we're just going to repeat this. Keep going at your own pace. This is a way that we're starting to get lubrication and energy into the knees, into the hips. One more time each side. Good. And then both legs out to straight. Okay? And then go ahead and come off of your blanket. Good. Okay, and then you're going to come down onto your spine. As you come down onto the spine, squeeze the knees into the chest. You can take your knees wider if you need to. If you want to come into baby pose, feel free to go right there. Right, some of us need to be a little bit warmer in our hips before we find comfort in that pose, if we find comfort in there at all. Rock a little side to side. Okay, and then bring both feet down to the floor. Walk your shoulder blades in a little bit more towards your spine. Make sure the back of your skull is flat on the floor. Take your right leg up to the sky. Point your toe, and you're going to make little bitty circles. Right, again, this is very common. We feel like we want to go really big. Right, so I want you to think very small, just very small circles. You'll do about 5 in one direction and then change your direction. And then bring the right foot back down, take the left leg up to the sky, point the left toes, and little circles. And going in the other direction. And bring left foot back down to floor. Take right leg back up to sky again. Hold behind your right leg wherever you can. If you have a strap or a dog leash or anything at home, it could be a towel, a shirt. You can wrap it over the ball of your right foot so that you can get a really nice stretch through the back of the right leg. The hips stay down, and you're using your arm muscles if you want to pull your leg in a little closer. Reach through the right heel a little bit more, and try to spread your toes out a little bit. Take a nice full breath in. And as you exhale, just find a safe edge for yourself. So really getting into some sensation in the back of the right leg, but not to where it starts to affect your breath or feel like you want to lift your head or your chest off the floor. And then bring the right leg back, take the right ankle over the left thigh, pull the left knee into the chest, hold it to the front of the shin or the back of the knee. If you're close to a piece of furniture, you could also take your left foot to the piece of furniture so there's some support. And then let's rock the legs a little side to side. So when the knees move to the left, you're definitely going to feel more sensation in your right hip. And then use your arms, pull your left thigh in a little closer. Your hips might lift a little bit off the floor, and that's okay. And left foot comes down, uncross the right leg. Take both legs to straight for a moment here. Take your arms out to the sides. Take one full breath here, and just a breath of observation and just feeling from right to left, left to right. And both feet back to the floor. Take left leg up to sky. Hold behind the left foot. So my idea for the practice this morning is that I want things to just really make sense in your body. I want it to be a practice of practicality, if you will. I want it to, because again, there's so much uncertainty going on right now, and there's so much animosity too. Right? Everybody's got their different opinion, right? Their different idea, their different visions of what they're seeing in the world right now. And so that can sometimes create conflict and just misunderstanding. So I want the practice this morning to be simple, fairly basic. And again, I want it to make sense to you and your body. Reach through the heel a little bit more, spread your toes out, firm your left leg, and then from here, pulling the left leg in. You may need to bend your knee a little bit, and that's fine. And left ankle to the top of the right thigh. Pull the right thigh in, hold behind the thigh to the front of the shin wherever you can. When you find your hand placement, start to rock your legs a little side to side. When we start to feel more and more settled in our bodies, right, we'll notice that there's a desire possibly to let an exhalation ride out a little bit longer. Right, so it might come out in a sigh, right? And then come back to center and pull the right thigh as close as you can in towards your chest. And right foot hits the floor, left foot hits the floor. Take both legs straight out again. And then this time reach the arms overhead and take a full body stretch here. Interlace your fingers, either pushing the tops of the hands or the heels of the hands away from the head. And then squeeze your booty so you feel your hips lift away from the floor. And then relax. Okay, if it's too much to have your arms overhead, bring them back out to a T or down by your sides, because we're going to butt squeeze for a minute, okay? So, or gluteal squeeze, however you want to think of it. So squeeze and release. Squeeze, release. So I'm not going to keep saying squeeze, release, but we're going to do this 5 more times. And what you can notice here, if your right glute or your left glute fires a little bit more than the other one. Our gluteal muscles are key, especially when we come into any kind of flow practice. Yes, I know we're doing more than 5. Keep it going. 2 more. Great. And hold, 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 hold. Hold. Tighten, tighten, tighten. Squeeze your muscles of your legs. Push your heels down and release. Good. Squeeze the knees back into the chest. Make a tight ball here if you can, or as tight as you can. And rock your way up to a seat. Okay, from here, you're going to cross the right shin in front of your left shin. If you want to get back on a blanket, get back up on a blanket. Lift your hips up. Pull your sits bones back and then sit back down so you can find coming back into somewhat of the natural curve of your low back. Take a nice inhale. Pull your chest through like you're going into a cow pose. Feel the tailbone anchor down, and as you exhale, keep that openness in your chest and start to fold your way forward to any degree. You can keep your elbows here. If you can, I want you to try to narrow your knees so that your inseam of your foot lines up to the opposing outer knee. And then we're going to inhale, come back up. Okay, uncross the legs, take the left leg in front, pick the hips up again, pull sits bones back, reestablish that nice grounded seat. Hands behind you, lift the chest again here. And as you exhale, tail anchors, fold forward with your left leg in front. You may have a block, right, or a couple of pillows that your forearms are resting on. Find length in the spine. Don't lose that sense of anchoring, right, that sense of being rooted down. And find your way coming back up. Good. Uncross the legs or roll over your ankles, finding your way onto all fours. When you get to all fours, take a little bit of time here. Establish a nice foundation through your hands. Spreading the fingers, pushing down into the thumb, the base of the thumb, the base of the first finger. Notice that the head is down here, so lift the skull so you feel your skull line up into, like it's right over the heart. And then we'll move through a few cat-cows. As you inhale, lift your hips, your chest, your head, your eyes. As you exhale, round. Push the floor away. As you inhale, I like to curl my toes even. Lift, and as I exhale, point the toes and round. A few more times, inhaling, exhale. And use this particular movement to find a nice rhythm that really feels sustainable for you. It feels like it can carry you through your practice this morning. Come back to neutral spine. You might put a blanket or a towel under your knees if you need it. Please extend your right leg straight back behind you. Start with your kneecap pointing straight down. Reach through the heel, reach through the top of the head, and tone your abdominal wall. Inhale, lift through the heel, lift through the back of the skull. As you exhale, point your toes and pull your knee in towards your chest. Inhaling, reaching back. Exhale. If your wrists are bothering you at all, you can always come down to the forearms and do this on forearms. The next time the right leg is out behind you, you're going to drop the foot down for a moment. Okay? tone the belly, and then you're going to take your right foot, walk it over to your left. Let your hips sway a little to the right and look over the left shoulder. So you're looking at the inseam of your right foot. You could even pull your right shoulder a little bit more towards your right ear so you feel a nice long right side body. Come back to center. Right knee comes down. Left leg, reach it back. Kneecap down, reach through the heel. And then start the movement. Lift the head, lift the heel, point the toes, pull knee into chest. About 2 more. And again, moving at a pace that feels it's responsible for you, but also, again, that makes sense for you and your body. Good. Bring the left foot back down. Feel the sides of the waist lift a little bit so it feels like the belly is nice and toned. And then the left foot, walk it over to the right. Look over your right shoulder. Hips sway just ever so gently to the left. And you can pull your left shoulder towards your left ear a little. So you feel a nice long left side. Bring the leg back to center and drop the knee back down. Good. Okay. From here, if you need to, walk your hands a little bit more forward. We're going to lift the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Yes. So in downward facing dog, just stretch through the bones. Move and groove a little here. You can bend one knee, bend the other knee. Let the hips rock and sway a little side to side, but keeping that nice, grounded, strong foundation through your hands. Okay. Now please come back to center here. Remember to bend the knees if you need to. And as we inhale, we're going to feel the pelvis tuck in a little bit, round through the spine, and then wave forward into a high plank. Pull the hips back, down dog. 2 more times, very slowly. Feel the legs tone, the hips tone, the belly tone, the arms. Skull lifts, exhale, back to down dog. Inhaling, coming forward 1 more time. Come down to the knees this time, lower down. Bring the legs together. As we inhale, we're going to lift the legs, lift the chest, coming into a variation of Shalabhasana. Feel the elbows squeeze in and pull back. Find length in the back of the neck. Lift the legs as high as you like. Drop the feet back down. Pull your hips back. Take the knees wide or together. Whatever works for your body for child's pose. Keep the arms reaching though. And whether your forehead is on the earth or a block or whatever you need it to be on, I want you to rock your head side to side. See if you can allow the skull and the brain to be heavy. This is the part of our brain that it just has that constant attention. So just giving it a break right now in a sense of letting it feel soft. This is also an acupressure point right between the brows on the forehead, that as soon as the pressure is applied, whether it's through a needle or whatever way you're manipulating it, triggers a response to relax. Inhale, please come back up to all fours. Lift your hips back up again, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in, and as you exhale, walk your feet forward to the top of your mat. Lift and spread all of the toes. Lower the toes back down. Push through the mound of the big toe, pinky toe, and right through the center of the heel. Bend the knees as much as you need to. I have absolutely no problem with you straightening your legs as long as you're doing it correctly by lifting the muscle energy up instead of pushing back through your knees. Your quadriceps are what straighten your legs. So turn your quads on if you want straight legs. And then bend the knees. Draw the tail to the heels. Slowly roll your way up vertebra by vertebra. At the top of the inhalation, the shoulders will shrug up to the ears as you exhale. I know we took a little time to get here this morning. All right, so welcome to Tadasana. So take a moment in your Tadasana. Just grounding down through your feet. Maybe a new appreciation for your feet, knowing that there's a map of the whole entire body at your feet. And then feel up through your legs, up into the pelvis, the hips. Feel this nice vertical alignment of the spine. The shoulders pull back ever so slightly. Feel that the brain is right over the center of the chest, and the center of the chest is right over the core of the pelvis. Good. As we inhale, reach the arms up, overhead. Or interlace the fingers if you can. If not, just keep your hands the width of your shoulders. So you're making one big fist here if you can. And as you exhale, you're going to arc to the right. You're going to inhale, come up. Push through the feet, arc to the left. And I want you to find a rhythm, again, that makes sense for you and your body. Exhaling. The inhalation is where you find a lot of length, as much as you can. And as you exhale, going to the side. Try to keep the hip points forward without turning the hips as you go side to side. The upper arms are trying to squeeze to the ears if you can. One more time to the right. One more time to the left. Coming back up. Release the hands, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, stretch through the spine. Good. Exhale, step back to a plank. Lower your way down to earth. My dogs are about to bark. Point your toes as you inhale. Pull your chest up for cobra. And then the hips pull back, downward facing dog. Shake the head out a little bit. Take a full breath in. And a nice sigh out. Look forward and walk your way to the top of your mat. Take an inhale, stretch through the spine. Fold in. Push through the feet. Reach to the sky. Flowing that way again. Bow in. Heart pulls forward, hips pull back. Step your other foot back to high plank. Right? Not the one that we habitually step back with. Come to knees if you like. Lower down. Point toes. Inhale. Full breath to come up. And complete the exhale to pull you back, downward facing dog. Look forward, however you like to get to the top of your mat. Maybe you're jumping this morning. Inhale, stretch. Bow in. Push to the earth. Reach to the sky. One more. Fold in. Long spine. Maybe you hop both feet back this time. Right? Or one foot then the other foot. Lower to the knees if you like. All the way down. Take your time. Coming up. Hips pull back. Downward facing dog. See if you can find a nice pause at the top of the inhales and at the bottom of the exhales. Looking forward, however you want to get to the top of the mat. Stretch the spine. Fold your way back down. Strong legs, strong belly. Push to the earth. Reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a moment here. Just feel from the toes to the top of the head. Notice if there's any settling, right, of any commotion going on. Just finding some clarity. And we have to do that. Go outside. This is part of being at my house. If I put them in a room, they'll just bark the whole time. So coming back. Hopefully you didn't go anywhere. You're still there. So this clarity comes from trust. So just trusting in the process. Trusting what's going on in just our world right now. It's really hard to do that because there's uncertainty with it. Inhale, look up, reach up. Drop your hips, Utkatasana. Squeeze your inner legs together a little bit here. So as you squeeze your inner legs, you're not letting your knees drop in like so, right? But you can imagine there's an isometric action of hugging the legs into the midline. Lift through the heart, look up, exhale and fold in. We're gonna step the right leg back and then spin the heel so we can find warrior one. Use your inhalation to come up. And take your time here, build the pose from the feet up the legs, through the pelvis, all the way out through the arms. Feel the tail anchor down, and the top of the head reach to the sky. Take the hands behind you, please. Interlace your fingers. Pushing through the center of the heels, lift the chest to the sky, squeeze the upper back muscles, and as you exhale, fold your way over your left leg into Exalted Warrior. You could rest your left shoulder on your left thigh, or bring your chest over to the right and let it drop a little bit more. Release the hands, float the arms up to the sky. And exhale, both hands down to the left foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right, finding plank. Of course, you can skip it. If you want to go to child's pose or right to downward facing dog, go for it. Drop to the knees. Keep the chest open as you lower. Point your toes. Inhale, rise up into cobra. Pull the hips back. Downward facing dog. Full breath in, find the pause. Complete the breath out, find the pause. Look forward, walk your way or hop your way to the top of your mat. Stretch through your spine. Fold your way down. Reach to the sky. Would anybody like a 10-year-old black lab who loves to bark and is food obsessed? Exhale, drop your hips back down. Utkatasana. Good, stay with it, reach up. Exhale, fold your way down. Inhale, stretch your spine. Good. Step your left leg back. Find your way coming into Virabhadrasana 1 on the left side. Bruno. Good. As you ground through the back heel, reach to the sky. And then from here, when you bring the hands behind you to interlace, bring the other finger on top. Lift through the sternum and fold forward over your right leg. Try to keep your hips in the midline, so not letting the hips sway over to the right, but pull your right hip back and in. Release through the neck as best as you can. You could also have your hands on your hips. Root down to the feet. Release the grasp of the fingers. Reach back up, warrior 1. Exhale, both hands down to the front foot. And step your way back. High plank, low plank, no plank. Right? Maybe you're in child or down dog. Lower your way down. Point the toes. Curl the heart open. Exhale, pull hips back, child's or downward facing dog. Please take 3 breaths here. Bruno. From here, look forward, and however you want to get to the top of your mat. The inhalation, feel the inhalation come all the way in as deeply as you can. Pause, exhale, and bow. Push to the feet, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart. Good. And now from here, we're going to step the right foot back and then turn all of our toes in the same direction. So right toes, left toes. Okay, the heels are slightly out, the toes are slightly in. Hands come to the hips, and then lift the sternum high to the sky. Squeeze your elbows towards one another. Feel the tail draw down. Good. And then from here, again, bend the knees if you need to. And you're going to find your way into a forward fold. Maybe you have a chair at home and your hands come to a chair or blocks or all the way down to the floor. Little by little, breath by breath, you can start to fold in a little bit more deeply. Some of you might take your hands and hold the outside edges of your arches or to the ankles or even to the big toes. So once you establish where you want to be in this particular pose, I want you to feel like you're pulling your legs towards each other. So you feel a nice activation of the inner legs. And then from there, let your head drop a little bit more. Release whatever you're holding on to. Push your hands into the floor to come up halfway. And then you're going to turn your toes out a little bit here. And as you turn your toes out, coming into Sanghassana, where you just let your knees rock from side to side. Try not to let the knee go over the ankle and try to keep your knees wide. You might even want to bring your hands to your knees to remind yourself to do that. Inhaling to come up, exhaling to go side to side. So we live in Weaverville and we live on like almost 20 acres. We don't own all those 20 acres, but so we have turkey, we have deer, we have animals that come through, so I'm sure right now that must be what's going on. Come back to center, hands come back down to floor, toes turn back in, heels turn back out. Inhale, lift through spine, exhale, fold back down. You're going to walk over to your right leg as best as you can, holding your right leg with both hands if possible. Try to pull the hips to the left a little bit, and then from there, pull your chest in towards your right leg. Come back to center. Both hands are going to walk over to the left. You might hold your thigh, your shin, or your foot. Take a breath in, hips rock a little to the right. Pull your chest towards your left leg. Inhale, come back to center. Good. Heel toe your feet a little closer together. And we're going to bend the knees, take the hands to the tops of the thighs. Thumbs to the inseams of the knees, fingers to the outseams of the knees. And again, I want this to make sense in your body. So take a little bit of time here to find a stride, a width of your feet that feels, again, sustainable. Feel length through the spine. And then we're going to exhale. We're going to drop the right shoulder and look over the left. Use the inhalation to come back to center. Drop left, look over right. Full inhalation to bring you back. Completion of the exhale to twist and rotate. Please keep the pelvic floor active, navel pulling to spine, so that the stabilizer muscles are activated to take you into this rotation. Stay with it a few more times, each side, keeping the knees nice and open. And then come back to center. Good. And then from here, we're going to try to drop the hips a little bit lower, widen the knees a little bit more, push to the center of the heels, and then see if you can get the heart right over the core of the pelvis. And so again, it's like your torso is in Tadasana. And then take the arms out. So you're making a T, or a T between the elbows and the shoulders, but the arms come into cactus. Good. Keep pushing through the center of the heels. Just feel the hips here. And then push into the earth. Straighten your legs. Bring the hands to the hips. Turn the toes back in. Good. Good. And then from here, you can either step or hop your feet together. Okay? All right. Please stand as steady as you can on your right foot. We're going to bring our left foot up into tree. So when I bring my left foot up, my hips want to move to the left. So I want to try to keep my hip points forward. Okay. Push your heel into your inner thigh and your inner thigh into the heel. Okay. It's a way that we remember that everything is in relationship. Okay, so what's the relationship between the right side and the left side? Okay. Let them both work together. And now pull your left hip forward and your left knee back. Left hip forward, left knee back. You can keep the hands to the hips, or slowly take your arms up overhead. Now we're going to be here for about 5 more breaths. So for those of you at home that want a little bit more, okay, you're going to cross your ankle over the top of your right thigh. And you might not know you want more unless you go for it and try. And then from there, you start to find your way into Utkatasana. Now it might look like this morning, okay? So you have a wall at home, or you can pull a chair, because we've got about 3 more breaths. So you're either here, you can even start to hover over your left leg to get a little bit more juice into the left hip there. 1 more breath. Push into the right foot. If you were in tree or wherever you were, release your left foot down. Try not to shake or move anything right now. Be still. Like there's a pause in the body. Okay? To the second side, standing on your left leg. So let's all start in tree. So remember, your toes can be on the ground, anywhere to the inseam of your left leg. I don't panic if your foot goes into the inseam of your left knee, right? The chance is about 0 that you're going to push your knee over to the left and dislocate it, right? But the idea is that you want to try to be like more to the thigh or more to the shin. Okay, I don't want you to get in the habit of pushing into the knee. Okay, hands to the hips, right hip forward, right knee back, right hip forward, right knee back. Find the relationship to right and left side, and then arms can reach, and then they're staying right here, or crossing right ankle over left thigh, dropping hips down, maybe hands come to heart, and you hover above the inseam of your right shin. One more breath. And then we push into the left foot. Uncross the right leg, arms down by the side. And again, try not to rock or sway. Instead, push into the points of the feet. Firm your legs without pushing through the backs of the knees. And find that toning again without gripping, coming up into the glutes, up through the spine, arms heavy by your sides. We can be so quick to what we call counter pose, I guess would be the word. But if we just take a moment and pause, then we can really feel how the posture can integrate into the body. Inhale, float your arms up overhead. Arc back a little here. Exhale and fold in. Inhale, stretch through your spine. And then step your way back one last time to a plank. Keep the chest pulling forward and then lower your way down. Pointing the toes and coming up to any degree here. Take the knees wide or keep them together. Pull the hips back, child's pose. Bring the arms by the chest or up underneath your shoulders and push your way up to a seat. You need to go lay down. And then let's come to a seat. Take the legs straight out in front of us. You might find your way sitting onto your blanket again. We're going to pull the right knee into the chest. Take the right foot over the left leg. Slowly turn and twist to the right. You can hug your right knee in or take the elbow to the thigh. Outer right hip drops down. notice if you're leaning to the left or the right or forward or back. And just try to find yourself in the best alignment that you can. Slowly come back to center. Uncross the right leg. Bring the left knee in. Cross left leg or left foot over right thigh. Sit tall. And then slowly turn left. Left hand behind the left hip. Initiating the twist from the waistline. Coming up the spine. Head very last thing to turn. Back to center. Cross at your ankles. And please come back to all fours. So some of us will find our way onto our backs, revisiting, I'll show you. You'll revisit this position here, especially if your knee is very vulnerable or your hips are vulnerable, or we're going to come into pigeon or pigeon prep. So from tabletop, the right knee will slide towards the right wrist. Okay, so in pigeon, the closer the heel is towards the pubic bone, the less sensation you're going to feel on your hip. The more you take your heel away, right, you're going to feel more sensation. So find what works for you. I'm going to let this dog out. Maybe we can all have a little bit more peace, and even going into Shavasana, we don't have to listen to her. All right. Maybe you've already found your way folding forward. I have this blanket here, so I can show you how you can place it up underneath your right hip to find a little bit more comfort here if you like. So the dog constantly, asking to go outside can be that reminder of how we're constantly having to navigate our way through commotion. And really, in the grand scheme of things, the dog whining or barking is just doesn't even matter. There's so many other things going on. So taking this time now, just tap into that inner peace, that inner calm. Walk your hands back. Okay, if you're on your back, please switch sides. If you'd like to take it into a down dog and stretch your leg back, you're welcome to. Remember, you're at home, so really it's your practice. I'm just here to offer some guidance. And then you can come down to the knees, or from down dog, left knee comes towards left wrist. So if you want less, the heel comes closer towards your left thigh. If you want more, the heel goes closer to the right edge of your sticky mat. You could place your towel or blanket underneath your left hip. And then as you exhale, finding your way, coming down. You might have to stay stacked up on your forearms. Keep the neck relaxed, your jaw soft, all the muscles of the face relax. And as you tuned into the relationship of the right and the left side, now tune into the relationship of the inhalation and the exhalation. Remember the pause in between. it's not a kumbhaka pause. This is just a short pause of just integration. If you're on your back and you feel like you're getting a little bit more space into the hip, use your arms to pull your thigh bone a little closer. And from here, walk the hands back up underneath your shoulders. Remove any prop that you had. You can go back up into down dog and extend your left leg back. And drop the knee back down. And swing your legs back around. And then take your time coming all the way down onto the back. Squeeze the knees into the chest. Push into the back of the head so that you can draw your shoulder blades in a little bit more towards your spine. Squeeze the knees into the chest. And as you exhale, let your knees drop over to your right. You can take your right hand and hold your left leg down as you gently turn your head over towards the left. Draw the navel to the spine, come back up to center. And then slowly take knees to left as head turns to right. Left hand holds right leg down. Just moving through the body this morning in a way that feels fairly simple. We're not trying to contort ourselves into these positions that can add to just anticipation or tension. Maybe we can think of the word as normal, I guess, because we all know that normal is going to change for us. And then draw the navel back into the spine, take the knees back up into the chest. Squeeze in. Drop your feet back down to the floor. Make sure the shoulder heads are pushing down like the heels of your feet. And then do push the heels of your feet down. The mound of the big toe, pinky toe. Pull your arms closer in towards your side bodies. And then lift the hips up for bridge. You can interlace the fingers underneath the back, pulling the shoulder blades in a little more towards the spine. And then starting to lift your hips as high as you like. Be very mindful of your neck. Don't drop your chin or lift your chin, but keep the chin to where it feels like your neck is in agreement with what you're doing. Lift the hips a little higher if you can. The glutes will turn on. You don't want to grip, but they're definitely very toned right now. You can imagine you're squeezing a block between your inner knees or even into the inner ankles. Feel it come all the way up into the chest, like you're really opening up into your lungs, into the heart. And then slowly release back down, vertebra by vertebra. And then feel the hips hit the ground. Okay, if you want to do one more, feel free to do that. You could also take, if you have it at home, if you have a block or you have, maybe you found a set of books that work for you like a block, and you've got them wrapped up in a towel, that can be very helpful. And then we'll lift the hips up coming either to the first or second level of the block. The block is supporting the sacrum, so you should feel very comfortable and heavy to whatever point of surface that you're on. And then from here, we can let the legs reach to the sky for a little waterfall pose. At home, those of you who have a shoulder stand or a headstand, practice. Right, and feel comfortable doing it on your own, by all means. Maybe there's variations that you like to do here, taking the legs apart and together, or soles of the feet together. Or again, riding that wave of simplicity. I'm always encouraging students to remember that a lot of times less is more. Okay, and then we're going to drop the feet back down, come off of whatever prop we might be on. Taking the legs out. Maybe you have a piece of furniture close by. You can put your legs, elevate them on a chair, a sofa, whatever you have, especially if you don't like to lie flat on your back. And take the feet nice and wide. Let the arms splay out. And just feel, again, from the toes all the way out through the fingers, all the way up to the top of the head. Take a full body breath in. Remember the pause. And exhale out the mouth. You might do about 2 more of those to really settle in. Breathing in trust. Exhaling out doubt and fear. Inhaling in patience. Exhaling out intolerance. Relax your bones, the muscles, the joints. And check in with your jaw, make sure you're not clenching. Check in with your forehead, make sure it's not tightening. Staying here just for a couple more breaths. Just feeling the weight of the body. Just really giving time to find a nice deep relaxation. Start to move. My suggestion would be to start at your feet, as that's where we started our practice this morning. Just feel that movement coming up the body. Knees come into the chest, squeeze the knees in. And either rolling to the right side or your left side, whatever comes natural for you. Taking your time, coming up to a seat. We're gonna take one more round of Bhramari Breath. So if you'd like to take yourself off of mute to just hear all the other vibrations, all the other humming that's going on. So please bring the first fingers and thumbs together again. Take the elbows straight if you can. Sit up nice and tall. Just feel gratitude coming in from your body, taking this time to nurture and fortify yourself. Take a breath in. Exhale out the mouth. And we'll come into one round. Inhale. Next inhalation, the hands come together at heart. Thank you all so much for tuning in. May love and light guide our way today and every day. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for tolerating my animals. It's just